Let's talk about 6 of my favorite apps on the iPad today. What's up, people? Welcome to the channel where we talk about music production, music licensing, and music business. If you love any of the previously mentioned, be sure to subscribe so you stay up to date on all my latest content. And make sure you hit that bell icon so you know exactly when that new content is dropping. So today, it's time to geek out about some iPad tech app stuff. So I recently got the, well, not recently, it's been some months now, but I got the new M1 iPad Pro. And it's been a great experience, right? I was upgrading from an older iPad. It was a version I couldn't even use, like the Apple Pencil. It just wasn't compatible. So this upgrade for me has been pretty good. It has changed, the way I do some things and the workflow. And I just love it. It's a different feel. It's obviously a bigger screen. I got the, what is it, like 11 point something inch? I don't know. It's the bigger one. So it's been really, really great. So I'm going to share like 6 of my top apps that I use all the time, like every day in my workflow, in my business, and just being creative and things like that. Okay, so let's talk about the first one, right? Which I'm a music producer, so obviously the first one's probably gonna have something to do with music production. And honestly, I've been in GarageBand, man. Like GarageBand has been my go-to production app if I'm doing something on the iPad. And I think the reason why is that number one, it's like the most similar to Logic, since Logic gang. I use Logic on the computer, and GarageBand is like the closest thing to that on the iPad. And I'm able to kind of load in my own samples and things like that. And the workflow is just similar and it's simple. And I feel like that makes things a lot easier as far as ideas, getting those ideas out. When the workflow is just a little bit simpler and it's just less windows you have to go to do certain things. And then a lot of the keyboard shortcuts are similar to Logic as well. So that makes things a little bit easier for me. It doesn't feel like I'm learning a completely different DAW. And I used GarageBand for years when I first started using a Mac for production anyway. So I'm kind of familiar. It's a little different. It's not perfect. Like there's still some things that I don't really like about GarageBand that I feel like, they can add to make it a little more, I don't know, functional for professional production. But there's some dope things that I like about it. And I'll do another video on that, just some pros and cons of using GarageBand on iOS. But overall, that's the app I usually go to open up and start some ideas on the go, or if I just want to play around in GarageBand. So my second favorite app is having to do with content creation and video editing and things like that. So I'm using Lumafusion. I've been using Lumafusion for a while now and I love it. Especially the new update that they released, it actually allows you to edit videos straight from an external SSD, which is really great as well. If you want to store all of your files and videos and pictures and all that stuff on an external SSD, just in case this thing for whatever reason decides it wants to crash, you can do that. And it's really fast. I use Lumafusion a lot I've edited a full video on there and it was pretty cool, but then I use it a lot to kind of create and chop up smaller pieces of content sometimes that I'm sharing on social media. If it's something that my video editor isn't editing, or something that I just need to hurry up and just shoot out real quick, I can drag something in Lumafusion straight from photos or files on the iPad, load it up in Lumafusion. It loads instantly. I can start playing the video, preview the video instantly. There's no lag, and just chop it up and export it. And it exports super quick. Like honestly, it's quicker than my Hackintosh, like exporting something out of Final Cut Pro. I did a test and like I could have exported the same video out of Lumafusion on the iPad like 3 to 5 times by the time my computer finished exporting it. So Lumafusion is great. Would I like to see, some type of Final Cut Pro on the iPad? Yeah, I think it would be dope, but I think Lumafusion is the closest thing you can get to it. And honestly, I'm not mad at the workflow in Lumafusion. I think the main thing for me with Final Cut Pro is just being able to transfer certain things such as, you know, like lower thirds and effects that I use from third-party sites and things like that. Being able to transfer those into, you know, a mobile version of Final Cut Pro and still be able to use those, I think that would be super dope. So yeah, Lumafusion, super dope for video editing. So let's talk about note taking, which would segue us into, you know, my third favorite app. And I use a combination of, you know, the built-in notes app in iOS, but then I also use GoodNotes, and I'll tell you the reasons why I kind of use a combination of both. So let's talk about the built-in note app, right? The thing I like about that, especially in the new iPad OS, is like, say I'm on the phone, I'm on a meeting or a conference call, a Zoom call or whatever, and I want to just open up something and just start taking notes immediately. You know, if the iPad is locked like this, literally I can just start taking notes like with it locked, just like that. That's probably not a note that would be useful, but you get the idea. So I love that, you know, it's built in, it just works. And like literally I can just start writing. I don't want to miss ideas. I don't want to miss important, you know, just notes that happen when you're talking to people. The other thing I like is, like, if I'm in an app or something, just have the iPad in front of me and it's unlocked. Literally I can just drag from the corner, and that, of course, now it doesn't want to work, but I could drag from the corner and then it creates like a quick note. So I can just quickly jot down notes. If I want to attach like a website or something like that, I can literally just drag and drop straight into the notes. Sometimes I even use it for just certain things, like, you know, if there's a brief or something and I'm working on something, I can just quickly copy it to a note. I can copy the file to that note, whether it's an MP3 or a PDF, and everything will be in that note for me to go back and reference and organize wherever I want to, you know, wherever I want to organize it later. It's just really convenient. And I feel like the built-in note app is also better for like typing notes and things like that. Like if I just want to type things out, you know, I think it's really good for that as well. And the other app I'm using is GoodNotes. I feel like GoodNotes is a really great note-taking app. It's very responsive. And the thing I like about GoodNotes, and the reason why I use that and not just the built-in notes app in iOS, is because it has the ability to, first of all, create like multiple notebooks. And I feel like from an organizational standpoint, it just looks cleaner. You can quickly see, you know, all of your notebooks in a visually appealing way versus just a list of a bunch of words that the notes app shows you. So I love that, and the fact that you can change the cover of the notebooks. You can write titles on the front of the notebook just like you would on an actual physical notebook. You can also create folders and things like that to put certain types of notebooks on. It's like some things, like when I have ideas, there's just some things that I prefer to write down, or sometimes I just want to make a quick list or draw something just to kind of get it out of my head and just put it on digital paper. Another dope thing about the GoodNotes app is that it has like multiple templates that you can use. So you can go from blank to dotted paper to squared paper to ruled, narrow. You have the lines. You can have a single column, multiple columns. They have like an accounting template, monthly planner. You can create like a to-do list where, you know, you can kind of check things off and write. It even has like music scoring paper, like literally, like if you want to score some music, there's you know, you can like write it out and create that template, which is pretty cool. What else? And yeah, the monthly planner, the weekly planner. I use the weekly planner. They have a couple different versions that you can use of the weekly planner, which is super duper dope. And it just, you know, it can help you keep everything on track. I don't know if you can see that, probably not. Anyways, yeah, it's just really, really cool and super customizable. You can change the colors. If you have text that you want to move, you know, there's a tool to be able to, you know, to circle, highlight everything, and then just drag it and move it down or over in a note. And then you also have like a whiteboard. If you just want a whiteboard to do whatever you want to do, it has that template as well. And you can have multiple tabs of multiple notebooks open at the same time, so you can kind of go back and forth, you know, which is cool. And then you can also import, say like a PDF, for example. If there's a PDF and you want to take notes on that PDF, you can import that into GoodNotes, write your notes on the PDF, or just open up an additional tab And that way you can kind of switch back and forth if you're going through a PDF, you know, studying something and then want to take notes on the side. You can do that as well. So yeah, there's bookmarks and all types of really dope features and good notes that I feel like make it a very feature-rich note-taking app. And it keeps things clean and organized, unlike the Notes app, which is, again, I think they're trying to do better. Like, you can kind of do some organizational things, but for the most part, my lists and notes is just kind of ridiculous. I probably could use a few folders or something like that. But yeah, so that's good notes. All right, the fourth favorite app of mine on the iPad is this Screens app. Now, the Screens app is a game changer for me because, as you know, the iPad is not a computer, right? There's just some things that just won't be on here. And there's some things that it just can't do yet, which it should be able to do, but developers haven't allowed it to do it yet. But you know, there's those times where I need something from my computer. If I have a file that's on my computer or just some information I can only access from my computer, this Screens app allows me to remote into my computer and access it, like no matter where I am. As long as my computer's on and it's connected to the internet, I can still access it from my iPad and view it just as I would if I was sitting in front of the computer. Obviously, since I have a wide screen monitor, you know, it's kind of super wide on the iPad, but I'm able to kind of zoom in and move and control the computer right from the iPad. Like, I can drag and open files. I can literally work on the computer from the iPad, and it's really, really responsive. Super dope. I even have, you can add like multiple computers to it if you want to, you know, be able to access and remote in to more than one computer. Super dope. This app is like a paid app. I don't think it's super expensive though. I mean, for the convenience that you get, like to be able to access your computer if you need it right from your iPad, I think is super dope. Like, see, you can see here, like this is what the desktop of my computer looks like right now. And like literally I can like, you can control it with your finger if you want, but if you have like the magic keyboard for the iPad, literally it's just like, you know, kind of being on your computer, on a laptop or whatever, and you can, you know, do whatever you need to do. So that app is definitely a lifesaver and a game changer for me. A must have on any iPad or mobile device that Screens is available on. And the fifth app for me is Lightroom. Like, if you're editing pictures and stuff and you're posting pictures, you know, for your business or social media or whatever, Lightroom makes it really, really easy to get some professional editing done on the go. Again, we're talking about convenience here. It's an iPad, and it just feels good to just be able to touch stuff when you're editing stuff. So Lightroom is a super dope app. You can import your photos and things like that and edit them. What I do is I use Lightroom presets from like a third party. I use, what's his website? It's called Wild Presets. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. But they have really dope presets that you can use for your photos, and literally you can just copy and paste those settings to whatever photo you want, and then it applies it. You can export the photo and you're good to go. So this is kind of like my go-to photo editing app if I'm shooting like a picture or a cover for something or a product shot for brands and things like that. This is the app that I use. It just makes it super, super simple, especially if you're not like a photo editing expert like myself. So that's Lightroom. Now, the sixth app that I recently started using, and like literally instantly I fell in love with this joint, is the Trello app. And I use a combination of the app and the online version because there's just some things that you can see on the web version that you can't see on the app. But listen, this thing, if you don't use Trello, like check it out, try it out. It's a free app. They have paid versions, but literally everything I need, I get it on the free version, and it's great. So if you never used Trello, Trello is like a project management, task management, you know, workflow, productivity workflow app. And man, when I tell you, this thing has been keeping me super organized as far as, you know, my content creation projects, my music production projects, music licensing projects. It's just, it puts everything in a view that you can see what needs to be done, what's being done, and what's done. You know what I mean? So you can set it up, customize it however you want, but The idea of it is to pretty much go from left to right until a particular task is done. That's at least how I use it and how a lot of other people use it. But you can create multiple boards. As you can see here, I have multiple boards on my Trello account, you know, one for content creation, loop packs, music licensing, production, and then I have one for the podcast production that we do. And pretty much, you know, I'm able to, you know, I have a list of all of my ideas, and I have a list of what I need to do for the day, and then a list of what I'm doing. And then it just moves down. So instead of trying to remember everything or keep everything on like a super long tasks list, this allows you to organize it in a way that's visually appealing. It makes sense, it's logical. And then you can also open up, you create what's called cards, right? So what a card is it's pretty much the task or whatever you're working on or whatever you want it to be. But it allows you to set due dates, start dates. It allows you to add attachments. You can add a checklist on a particular task. So say I'm working on a track. What are the things I have to do to complete this project on the track? You know, mixing, editing, formatting, things like that. You can add a checklist as well as, you know, add different members. If you have a team or whatever, you can add different members to a card and kind of pass off tasks as it goes through, you know, the workflow. So it's really, really cool. And I've been loving it so far. So I definitely recommend checking it out, or at least something similar, man, just to stay organized and on top of everything that you have going on in your music production business or just in your regular life. Like, you can use this in regular life. Question of the day: what are some of your favorite iPad apps to use, and why do you like them? Let me know in the comment section. Maybe I'll check them out and see if it's something that I can add to my iPad as well. So yeah, those are my favorite like 6 apps that I use like every day faithfully on my iPad. So hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.